Good morning, everyone. Jason and Alicia here with you at 6 o'clock as we come on air. We are following that breaking news, a use of force incident involving a Minnesota State Patrol trooper on I-94 in Minneapolis has a large stretch of the highway shut down. Going to affect your commute this morning. We're going to check in with Cece in just a minute.
Meanwhile, let's get to Ben, who's tracking the Monday forecast for us. Hey, Ben.
Hey, Alicia. Hey, Jason. Things are relatively quiet this morning. Some high clouds filtering our morning sunshine over the Minnesota River Valley. That's thanks to some thunderstorms that are now moving from Nebraska into far western Iowa. We're also watching this cluster of storms north and west of Bismarck. That, too, is going to provide us with some high clouds later this afternoon. But otherwise, it is going to be an uneventful and overall quiet start to the week. Right now, it's 64 degrees or 63 degrees in the metro, some 40s up north, and outlying locations outside the Twin Cities, starting the day off in the low to mid 50s. So again, sunshine to start off the day. Mostly dry weather is expected most of this week, with just a couple of proverbial hiccups as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll talk more about that in a couple of minutes. Slowly warming temperatures, 90s by midweek, and a better chance for rain next weekend. For a closer look at those roads, let's toss it back to Alicia.
Yeah, it's been relatively quiet, minus that situation on 94. As you can see here on this metro map, eastbound lanes, 94 northbound, closed right now as we speak. Southbound lanes are still open to the motoring public this morning, but Highway 100 northbound would likely be your detour. You could also hop on 47 through Columbia Heights or 65 northbound if that is a faster option for you this morning. But meanwhile, let's get to Cece, who's been on the scene all morning long.
Yeah, Cece, you've been tracking developments for the past few hours. What can you tell us about that scene?
We can tell you now at 6 o'clock that the Minnesota BCA is involved in this. They took to Twitter about an hour ago to say that they're responding to a use of force incident involving a Minnesota State Patrol trooper here on I-94. They say they'll be updating us with more information on that soon. But take a look here at this new MnDOT video from overnight, actually, of the moments leading up to this incident that's being investigated. This video is from around 2 o'clock this morning, just a few hours ago. You can see a car pulled over on the side of the road. A squad car then pulls up to the parked car, and officers walk up. Then about 20 minutes later, you can see the car takes off from officers. The officers run back to their own car to go after it. There's a break in the MnDOT footage for a short period of time, but then about 4 minutes later, you can see multiple squad cars cornering the car on the side of the road again, this time though on 94 near 42nd Avenue. So we're actually going to try to get a better vantage point of that area where the BCA is stationed right now, where the incident happened, and bring that to you in our 6:30 half hour. But for now, we know that this portion of the interstate at least is still closed. Guys.
All right, Cece, thanks for that update. We'll check back soon.
Well, we are less than 24 hours away from the calendar flipping to August 1st, and that means new laws go into effect here in Minnesota. Most notably, of course, is Minnesota becoming the 23rd state to legalize recreational marijuana. That means if you're 21 or older, it will be allowed in limited amounts. But the new law prohibits open cannabis products in vehicles. And criminal records of Minnesotans with misdemeanor cannabis convictions will begin to be expunged as well. Charlene Briner is temporarily heading the Office of Cannabis Management and says despite some concerns, the law is very clear.
I have experienced people who really believe that this time has come for Minnesota. I think we have a sense of urgency among the public to both understand what's allowed and what's not.
Among the other laws taking effect tomorrow, they include expanding gun background checks, worker safety requirements in warehouses, cracking down on catalytic converter thefts, and active shooter drills in schools. In our next half hour, we take a deeper dive into some of those other laws.
Senator Amy Klobuchar is addressing a nationwide drug shortage. She talked over the weekend here in the Twin Cities. Her bipartisan bill calls for manufacturers of over-the-counter and prescription drugs to notify the FDA when they believe they can't meet demand. They would also be required to report on their supply chain. The legislation follows several years of shortages of critical drugs, from children's Tylenol to chemo drugs.
We are following developing news in Plymouth this morning, where police are investigating a deadly crash on Highway 169. This happened about 13 hours ago near Plymouth Avenue. State Patrol troopers say a box truck drove into the back of a sedan, which then hit an SUV. Troopers haven't said if anyone else was hurt. We can tell you, though, the highway is open this morning. We're keeping an eye on this and we'll update you when we learn more. This morning, a Fridley police officer is recovering after he was hurt while making an arrest. Police say it happened as officers were responding to an argument between neighbors. One of the officers was trying to arrest a woman who they say was resisting when he suffered a minor puncture wound to his lower leg. They say he will be fine, and that woman is now in jail.
We have an update this morning on a massive sinkhole in Minneapolis. The roughly 5 feet by 10 feet wide sinkhole opened at 27th and Girard Avenue South back in April. The Met Council says fixing it's taking a little longer than anticipated because of the surrounding gas and water lines. The city says the work should be completed by August 25th.
6:06 on the clock, and this morning, Minnesota Democratic Representative Dean Phillips is in talks about a potential run for president. Now, Politico reports that he'll meet with Democratic donors this week in New York City. The report also made it clear that Phillips is unlikely to challenge President Biden unless his health worsens or his political standing drops. He went on record last year saying Biden should step aside to let someone younger run.
This is saying, I respect Joe Biden. I think he's going to be the nominee, but we need a contingency plan in case he's not.
Wants a competitive primary for the Democratic nomination in 2024. If it's not him, perhaps somebody else, and views this as the way to kind of crack the political ice.
Now, Phillips is among the first elected Democrats to have his name floated for the primary. President Biden himself has not addressed the report, and his campaign declined to comment to NBC News.